Awesome. Okay. How are you guys doing? Just wave. Good. Yeah, awesome. Okay, so basically, I'm just gonna be going over like a few tips and tricks that I've learned throughout me taking pictures. Um, and then I found this really cool app called Snapseed, which is actually lets you do a lot of stuff that you'd be able to do on like Photoshop and Lightroom, but it's like very basic. So it's super helpful for you guys. Um, the Sorry, I was reading chat. The for you guys' assignment after, what you guys are going to do is turn in on the art Padlet your before and after pictures of what you guys create through using this app. So I'm going to start the slideshow. So, not slideshow. Hold on, how do I make this work? Here we go. Okay, so Snapseed is just a basic editing app. Has a ton of cool features. Like a lot more features than I've seen in most editing apps, which is super cool. It also has tutorials within the app itself. So like if you guys don't know much about what's going on or what you need to do in the app to edit it, it has a bunch of tutorials for you to get more acclimated to the environment of it. And export and import is very simple. Also, it offers a lot of filters and the ability to increase and decrease how much of the filter it uses. You guys ever use like a filter on a picture and you guys are like, whoa, that's way too much. So now you guys have the ability to decrease it or keep it as much as you want. When it comes to like selfies and like regular poses, they make a big difference in how much you like the photo. I mean, the photo is really for you yourself. So if you feel good in the photo, you're gonna like the photo, you're gonna want to post the photo. And it's weird to say, but practicing different poses is very helpful in how much you'll like the photos that you take, and you know what your immediate go-to photo pose may be in future photos. Also, if you see a pose that someone else does, try to mimic it and tweak it to where it fits what you're looking for stylistic-wise, just so that you're more inclined to be like, this is my go-to pose and it works for me. It may not work for everyone, but you took it from someone else's pose that you thought was super cool and then made it your own. And then also, a lot of people take photos and they take photos with their chin like a normal speaking height, but a lot of times in photos you need to bring your chin down because bringing your chin down, it just slims your face and makes it more appealing to when you do take the photograph and look back at it. Also for females, create shapes in your poses. Think of like movements of dancers, so like ballet and stuff like that. And for men, it's more boxier shapes and make smaller shapes and poses. Usually front facing and like your chest is out, makes yourself just look bigger. And then with lighting, play with different angles. You hear a lot of times in like photography, like movies or shows, they say like work the subject, which basically just means just try different angles of that same pose because maybe it's not the pose that's not working, it's the lighting that's not working. And sometimes you don't have the ability to really change the lighting, especially if you're outside. So really work on like moving around the subject, which is yourself. So move your camera from like your left side to your right side, from up to down. Just basically just make sure that you aren't using the same point of view in the camera every time you take a picture. Also, light pointing straight to the side of your face will create a half lit up side of your face, which you see a lot of like athletes use this filter when they're trying to do like motivation or pictures or like really like serious photos. You'll like see dark half and then like a really bright half on the other side. It's usually in black and white. And then from below the chin will create the scary story lighting, which everyone knows. Like when you put the light underneath the chin, it like creates that like ooh spooky feel. And then above the head, 45 degrees is being more your desired lighting. So like up here, just because it gives you more of that portrait style lighting. So now it's going to be your turn. So this is what we're going to focus more of the class or workshop on, is just using the app and trying it out. So first you guys are going to take a selfie. And then you guys are going to open Snapseed. And then you guys are going to import the photo. And then these are the photos that we're going to be posting on the art wall on Padlet. So let me know when you guys took your photo and you guys are ready. You guys can put in the chat box, like ready, and I'll continue from that point on.
And if you really are like, I hate selfies, you can also, if you really want, take something that you have on your feed. It's just easier to access your selfie right off the bat, right onto the feed onto the app, I mean, right, Jeremy?
So if you already have stuff in your camera roll that you can use, you can just take that photo and bring it up into the app as well.
And then also, Jeremy, we didn't do a proper introduction for you. If those of you that do not know Jeremy
I'm so sorry.
is one of our newest staff members for the High School Youth Action Team. He started to work with us a little bit right before COVID, and then unfortunately due to COVID, everything kind of halted. But Jeremy's phenomenal. He's such a great guy. And he will be part of our leadership team for hopefully a really long time. So if you've seen Jeremy at some of our club meetings before when school was open, that's awesome. If you've never met him before, this is your first interaction with him. He's super positive. He's a really, really awesome person. So we're really glad he's part of our team. And he does, I was going to ask you, Jeremy, I know you have your, everyone's doing their photos right now, but if you have anything on your computer just to show them a little bit of like things that you've done. I know I mentioned it before, but it's kind of cool to see like your work or like, you know, examples of the things you were talking about in the bullets real fast, you know, just if you wanted to upload anything and, you know, informally, just because I think that really helps all of us to get an idea of like what you've done or what you're talking about. And plus it's just rad to see cool pictures since I don't have social media. But if you're able to share the screen and show it, that's cool too.
Okay. Give me a second and I will
no worries.
upload.
And then let's take like 2 minutes, guys, to quickly, if you need to find your pictures or take a selfie, whatever you want to do.
Let's see. Hopefully it goes up. Give me 1 second. I think I have to stop sharing it real quick.
Oh, sorry. I don't want to sabotage you. Go ahead. We can do this first. And then maybe later on, we could see some of your awesome pics.
And I think it's already in. Okay, there we go. Awesome. So now I need to go back over here, share content. Okay, so this was one of the photos I've taken and edited. This was at like a meetup. I do a lot of like photography meetups where I go to places where they basically have like models and then other photographers in the Orange County, LA area that come and join, and you basically just take photos and it's like you get to meet other artists around you, which is super cool. This was something I edited for a contest. And then this one was super cool. This was like for just an editing contest. And then this was another shot that I took and edited. Yeah. Thank you for letting me share stuff. But if you guys can import your guys' photo, we'll open up Snapseed. And then when you guys get to the Snapseed, you guys are going to open and import the photo. You guys press open in the top left corner, and then you choose the photo you guys want to edit. Awesome. Is there a way for them to be able to like give me like a thumbs up or a high five when you guys are there?
We can give you a thumbs up on our screens.
Awesome.
That helps.
Cool. You guys upload the photo? Everything good? Awesome. Okay. So this is like your guys' first like main screen of Snapseed. If you press looks, you guys can go see different filters. I recommend not using anything in looks just yet. But first go to tools and then go to tune image. And then when you go to tune image, press the calibration button at the bottom. It's the little button that's like right there. It looks like the 3 different lines. And then that will bring up brightness, contrast, saturation, ambience, highlight, shadows, and warmth. First, press brightness. And the way this app works, which is super cool and super useful, is you basically press and hold the screen, and then you go over to the right to add more, and then going over to the left to add less. So you're basically going to go to your desired brightness or decrease brightness. If you have an overexposed photo, you'd want to decrease your brightness just because it's going to be super bright. But you're not going to want to decrease it to the point where you're getting back all your detail just yet. If you have an underexposed photo, you're going to need to bring in more brightness into it. And then from there, you're going to press calibration and go to contrast. Contrast is going to make your image go more towards dull. It kind of dulls out the colors or brings them or pops them up more. And then you're going to go to saturation from there. And then saturation is kind of, you guys heard the term when something's overly saturated, so just too much color or not enough color. So if you have, sorry, let me check that. What's on the right means you want to change. The checkbox on the right means that you're done changing it. So you don't have to press the checkbox until the very end, that when you're done with all the changes in this tone adjustment area. So then you mess with the saturation, and then the ambience is something really cool that a lot of apps don't have. It basically is like another layer of detail about color and adding an underlying color. So it's going to just add more color to it or less. And then you have your highlights. Your highlights are like if you add something super overexposed. A lot of times when you're outside, if you're wearing a white hat, it gets super exposed. If you're wearing a white t-shirt, it gets super exposed. So then you bring your highlights down. Also, sometimes, depending on what the light's hitting, like where the light's hitting in your face, you may need to bring it down. And then shadows are all the shadows in the picture. This most of the time affects the hair a lot in your clothes. So make sure you kind of like gauge that to where it still looks good without making either your hair look too dark and you lose the detail on your hair, or too light to where it looks unrealistic, unless that's what you're going for. With photography, it's really kind of like a creative choice. So if you want to go super unrealistic, then it's something that you should do. If you don't, then it's like that. For warmth is going to allow you, so on the right side, it's going to be your oranges and yellow tones, and then on the left side, it's going to be your bluish tones. So if you want more orange, and if you go all the way up, you kind of get that like old photo yellowy film-ish looking light, but it doesn't look the way that you, like the filmish way. And then you go back, and then you'd have to change other adjustments you made previously. And then if you go all the way down, you're going to get blues. For me personally, I'm more on the blue side of things. Just I don't know why, I just liked more blue editing styles. And then when you're done with this section, then you press the check mark. and then you would go back into tools for the next one. And then you push details. Details, the structure is going to decrease or increase the amount of details that are being seen on the photo. So if you increase it, it's going to show everything in the photo that's there and just increase more detail and more detail. If you go to the left of it, it's going to decrease the amount on. In Photoshop, they call this frequency separation and blur effect on like your face. And a lot of times people prefer this to go towards the left. Sharpening does the same. It just adds more of an effect on. So sharpening, you can't go to the left. You can only go towards the right to add more. If you have a question, feel free to jump in. It's between contrast and ambience. Okay. Sorry, Catherine, I did not see your question until now. Okay, so the difference between contrast and ambience is going to be more of like, it's going to add more color tones, like more towards the color of saturation. It's more closer to saturation than it is contrast would be. So contrast is going to make your grays and darks more like vivid in a way. So they're going to make it a lot easier for you to see like the difference in little details. That makes sense. Did I answer your question, Catherine? If you do something you don't like, there's an undo button at the top. It's right, it's the third button over from the top right. Okay. For white balance, I skipped over. Okay, there's a curves button. If you go back to tools and you go to curves, curves is a beast when it comes to editing. It's especially, I haven't mastered it on this app yet, but basically that line either overexposes or underexposes your image more. And then you can make multiple points in the line by adding multiple dots to it, which really will drastically change your image. And you can move the endpoints, and you can make the photo look completely different than the way it started. And then for white balance is another temperature. So temperature is normally the blues and yellows like before. So this one, are you guys with me? I feel like I'm going a little bit too fast. Can I get a thumbs up for who's with me? Awesome. Okay, so temperature is going to be very similar to the oranges and yellows and the blues on the other side. I more use temperature. It doesn't affect the image as much to me. But that might just be my visual cue on how I see it. And then tint's going to be purple on the right side and greens on the left side. Sometimes when you take an image, you may have like a purple light or something in it, especially out of like a lot of like coffee shops and boba shops lately. There's like those images of the background where like if light's hitting like rose petals off a wall, then you'll get a pink shadow or light from it, and you may not want it to be that pink. And whenever you post about it, or you may want it to be pink, so you may want to add the pink tint or the green tint. And then from there, you can go to rotate. So rotating is basically just rotating the image to the side or to the left. I mean, to the left, to the right, upside down, either way you want. And then, or if you wanted to horizontally flip your image. And so if you were like sitting on this side, then if you flipped it, it'd be this side. And then perspective. Perspective is super useful for when like you're taking a photo and you're like sitting on stairs and you thought the photo was straight. Like you thought it was like the stairs were in the right angle, and then you look at the photo and you're like, oh, I'm actually curved. Like the whole staircase is going towards the left. Then that was when you like change the perspective of it, and you can make it straight again, the stairs straight, but then it's going to add black on the outside that you changed. And so then you would have to go to crop and crop it out, if that makes sense. That way you don't see where you had to tilt it, but the image doesn't know that doesn't have anything to tilt it with. So there's no like extra image there. So it has to just put black there. Expand is a really, on this app, it's very touchy feature, if that makes sense. So basically what it is it allows you to expand your image. So like, let's say you took a picture of like a landscape and it was like of a city or a tall building on the left, and you expanded your picture to the left, it will make that building on the left, it'll fill it in for you, making your image bigger. However, it's a computer doing this, so not all the time will it be the exactly what you're looking for, and it may distort your image. And for selective, so selective is like, no, sorry, that was the wrong tool I'm thinking of. Okay, I'm talking about the healing brush right now. Are you guys at the healing brush with me? I mean, thumbs up? Thumbs up, cool. Okay, so healing brush. What that does is if there's something in the image that you don't like sometimes there's a picture in an image that you don't want there, or you have a scab on your arm that you want to remove. Basically with select healing brush, you go to that point and then you would press that point on the area of your skin, the wall, the sidewalk, the grass, that you didn't want there, and it'll try its best to take from another image around it to replace it. I found out with this app, it works better. The closer zoomed in you are to that point, the better it looks. So if you zoom in with using 2 fingers, and then you press with 1 point, with 1 finger to get the area that you want to change. If you do it from zoomed out, it doesn't look as good. It starts messing with areas and bringing, like, it'll bring my eye up higher, slower. And then if we step 1 back to the brush. Okay, so the brush, when you press brush, it's not like your normal paint brush. So you have dodge and burn, exposure, temperature, and saturation. Exposure, temperature, and saturation, they're going to do what we've talked about in the other temperature, saturation, and exposure, which is like brightness and everything of the previous steps we talked about, but you can add the brush to specific areas with it. However, with dodge and burn is this technique used a lot now for photography. So basically what they do is like it's kind of like a weird concept to explain, but you take all the highlights from your face and all the dark areas from your face and put them into 1 layer. So you would lighten all the dark areas of your face and lighten all the dark areas of your face and darken all the light areas of your face to make it all one same color. And then you would go in with the brush and basically contour your face. Like makeup contouring, but it'd be the same thing that you do on an app. And you'd be able to do it after you dodge and burn. It's a super cool tool to use. I'm surprised that they put it in this app. I've never seen an app with it, and I was really surprised when I went into it. I was like, this is really cool because it's something I've used for the photos that I've edited through Photoshop and Lightroom. And to use the brushes, you press up and down on the arrows, and so it goes only to +10, and then you press down to go to +5, or the eraser if you want to, and then go negative to 10 and below. I've never gone, even on Photoshop, I've never used dodge and burn for higher than 10, so you shouldn't need to go that, but it makes a huge difference. Also, if you, like, a cool thing to do is if you wanted to, so burning makes it darker, so the negative makes it darker and the positive makes it lighter. A lot of times in images, you're trying to kind of make a cool area on one side. If you go darker on, if you're looking at your phone, it's the right side of your hand. If you go dark on that one side, and then on the bottom layer, it sometimes brings in your picture a lot more. And we have the HDR escape, which is a filter. So you would just do strength on the filter, whether or not you liked it. Works really good for nature and landscape photos. And then you have Glamour Glow. You have 5 different filters for Glamour Glow, which is basically just allows the glow for your skin filter. And then you can put how much you like, which I really like about this app, that it allows you to control how much and how small, like the amount that you want the filter to have an impact. And then if you press the calibration settings, you can change how much in that filter even more. And then for tonal contrast, it's the same thing. It's more of that like rustic filter, that rustic detailed filter, kind of like coal mining filter. That's how I think about it. And then the drama filter is going to be more of your dramatic dark tones. And then your vintage filter is going to be vintage. They have a lot of different vintage filters, which is really cool. And you can change the brightness and then go in further with the calibration, do even more. Does anyone have any questions at this point? Okay. So then grainy film. Grain is basically, when you see those images that look grainy, but they were meant to be grainy, or like images, some people really like images with grain. There's like people that I follow, like photographers I follow on Instagram, and one of them really loves to use grain, and she does not like end an edit without grain, which is super cool because that's her stylistic choice. Like, and all her photos are amazing. So it depends if you really like grain or if you really don't like grain, or if you really like sharpen or you really don't like sharpen. So it's basically up to you. Retrolux is more of that film gold. And grunge. Grunge is cool. It's different, but it's a cool feature. And then you can, if you press the point and then you basically zoom in, like you would zoom in with 2 fingers or zoom out, you can show how much in that area to show for like, kind of like, it's circling that one point for where it's going to allow light, which I thought was a super cool way of doing things on that tool. And then black and white are just black and white photos, and then you can edit them a lot more within the tool. And Noir is, I think that's how you say it, that's how I've been pronouncing it, is more black and white. It's like vintage film with a bit like that, like video film. And then portrait is like your normal portrait photo, but they give a lot of filters based on what you're looking for exactly, like spotlight, eyes, a combo of both, and then you can go in more detail in the calibration to, if you wanted to add more or add less. The head pose, I didn't know about this tool. This is my first time seeing it, but I heard about it. It basically lets you move the face, which was super different to me. I never knew about it. But it's a cool tool, I guess, if you need to do so. And the lens blur. The lens blur allows you to give you that portrait feel, that portrait photography feel, when like you have a really low f-stop and like everything behind you is like blurred out. You're able to change the formation of your ellipse into a circle, making it less or more, and then you can go in even more to doing less blur, too much, or too less, which is super handy because maybe you don't want to use your portrait mode on your camera, or does it too much on your camera. Now you can come in and do it yourself to the appropriate area that you like. And then the vignette is basically a circle around an image, either in a white or a black shadow. And then you can control how much you want, and then how harsh the transition in the vignette to the other one is between your outer and inner vignette. And then the double exposure is basically when you add another photo into your photo, which I haven't tried on this app yet, but it's a super cool feature that I have used on Photoshop. And basically, like if you wanted to put a tree that was on the left side of you to the right side, you're able to do so. And then the text area is super cool because it gives you a bunch of different stylized text that you can put on your image. And the frames, they give you a bunch of different frames, and that's awesome as well. If you want to see like the before and after, you can hold the image to see what it came from, or press that top left, top right half square and dotted square. Anybody have any questions? How's everyone's image coming out? Okay, and then when you finish your image, you're gonna push export and then export again at the bottom, and that just sends it to your photo album. And then that would be the image that you would post as your final product. Lisa. So I'm gonna let you continue working on that. If you guys have any questions, feel free to ask me about any of the features on here, and I will answer it to the best of my ability and knowledge of the feature. But I thought it was a super cool app because there's so many tools that you can use, and I thought it was like crazy how many tools were available. How's your image coming out, Lisa?
I look like a totally different person. It's awesome. I don't look like a person who's in her 30s that has 2 kids and who's been eating ice cream and watching Community every day. I'm just kidding.
Awesome.
Wait, I'm confused though. With the vignette, I'm confused how to use it though, because there's the dot and then you can also shift it left and right. Is that
Yeah,
right?
so with the vignette, when you put your 2 fingers on it and like zoom in and out, it creates a circle. So that's where it's gonna bring the either the black or the white in, and that's where it's gonna end, that circle point. So then the transition between the two, between that point and then the outer walls of your image, is that making sense so far?
Kinda. Yeah.
Okay. Okay, so then you would go, are you going for the whiter vignette or the darker one?
It's positive 49, so I guess lighter.
Whiter? Okay.
Oh no, lighter makes it smaller, right? If it's smaller or larger?
Oh no, yeah. And then, so the outer part of that circle is your outer vignette, and then that's your inner brightness or darkness that you're adding. I mean, your outer brightness or darkness, and then the inner part that you can use with the calibration tool is your inner vignette. So if you wanted to lighten up the image that you put on yourself or whatever you've been editing.
Oh, okay, I see. Ah, okay. Got it. Got it.
Any other questions, anyone? How'd yours come out, Eric?
For the double exposure app, you need to have an additional picture then, right? I'm assuming.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes. So a lot of times I learned this a while ago. Basically what it is you would take like a base shot. So a shot that you're not in of your environment, and then you would take another picture with you in your environment, and then you could double expose with that other picture of your base shot because there's no thing in it. And so basically you're just adding in that environment again, and you can like flip it to the other side so the tree looks like different on the other side, and then you can dodge and burn that tree so it looks darker, and then you can blur that tree so it looks farther. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Cool.
And so basically the new image that you put on top of that image is gonna come in kind of like a filter for the double exposure. That makes sense?
Yes.
Cool.
Yeah, this app is crazy. It has like a lot of different, like a lot of different tools. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, it has the most tools I've ever seen on an app other than like on a phone app, which I thought was insane of like what you can do and cannot do. Like they don't really leave you much that you aren't able to do through this app. And for it being free, I thought was awesome.
Cool. Does anyone else have any questions for Jeremy, just in general, or about the app, or anything you'd like to share? Maybe you guys are total photo buffs and you're like, oh, FYI, do this to your pictures so it'll look even uber rad. Any ideas, any questions, comments, add-ins? Anyone?
Or any other apps that you guys may use that you want to share. They're like super cool and awesome.
Wow, my picture looks super different.
Disco.
So we did it before and after. Do we just go into like a photo editing app and then just do a before and after?
Or you could just post both. I think one by one on the same one, right?
Yeah, I guess so.
Does Visco have the same amount of tools that this one does, Megan?
Yes, post the original next to the one that you edited, guys, so we could see the contrast, please. Oh, it has a lot of filters. But Megan, is it automatic filters or is it where you can actually, like this one, tweak every single option? I like
Yeah, like can you increase and decrease them?
You can talk, Megan, too. You don't have to just use the chat. This is a pretty small class.
I
Hey.
it does have like it has a lot of filters and like you can like decrease it and increase it and you can also like adjust the brightness and contrast and stuff like that.
Cool.
But it doesn't have as many like stuff as Snapseed.
Cool. But that's another option that people usually use. That's cool.
A lot of people use VSCO. So I know like a bunch of people that use VSCO, and it's just another really cool editing app.
Does this one, I don't know, Jeremy, if you know this or not, but does it crash easily? Is it reliable?
The Snapseed?
Yeah.
For what I've been using it for, I mean, it hasn't crashed on me. So, I mean, and I've been like going like through everything that I would normally use for it to try it out, and it's been good.
Very cool. Any other comments, questions? So this is rad. Our workshop was actually an hour long, so that's cool. So we'll definitely have an hour for service, but yeah, I mean, just make sure to update your photo, get your photo on Padlet. Probably just by Saturday of this week. But yeah, I think it'd be kind of rad just to see what people are doing. I kind of want to make mine completely extreme. I didn't go extreme. I made mine more like anime happy. I'm all soft and glowy looking, but I kind of need some self-care right now, so I'm going to go with the glowy, happy, lovey look.
That's good. No, it's
Even though I don't have social media, I'm not going to post it anywhere else but on our Padlet. But it's cool.
yeah, it's good. It's a good way for you to like really just try out a bunch of different things, because especially with this app, it allows you to do so much that lighting from your initial photo may not really matter as much, just because of how much you have available really to change, like through the filters and everything. And through the brushes, especially with the exposure brush, you can like put lights where you need to and dodge and burn other stuff. So it's just really cool app that you're able to like really just take a photo that you're like, oh, this isn't such a good photo, and make it into something where like, this is an awesome photo. It's my new favorite photo.
Very cool. Okay, anyone else? Any questions, comments, anything? Hopefully you learned something new and different and just kind of fun that you'd be able to utilize in the future. Yeah, thank you so much, Jeremy. This is super cool.